And here we are. It is 10 o'clock-ish, close enough, 10:02 on Tuesday morning. And of course, it is the 21st of September, which means I can't do it right now, but I would love to play you a song. For those of you who know, you know. For those of you who don't, you need to know. It is the 21st of September. Do you remember the 21st evening of September, 21st night of September? I do. It was one of the first songs I listened to this morning. Anyways, thank you for joining me here. It is Robert, of course, and we are going to be talking today in the Command 101 series about opportunities and opportunity pipelines. And we're going to be focusing on the pipeline aspect of opportunities today. We do have another class coming up that is going to be focusing on the opportunity itself, details, the document, the flow through of an opportunity. But this is a class on the opportunity pipeline and understanding the difference between the pipeline itself and an individual opportunity. So we're going to show you how we can use the opportunity pipeline to manage your business. It's a pretty cool tool, but it definitely is something that, although I'm doing this in the 101 series, is not something you're going to use right away as a new agent, especially if you only have 2 people in your database, because the opportunity pipeline is by definition for you to manage multiple opportunities, manage your business, all of the opportunities that you are currently working with in your business. So the first thing we'll do is I'll go ahead and start a share here. And look at that. It opened up the right window for me and it didn't mess it up. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit so you guys can see a little bit closer here. And as always, you can now see I am on my home page here, my dashboard in Command, and I'll get rid of that there for you so you can see exactly what's going on. Okay, so here we are in Command. Of course, we landed on the home page here. I've logged in already, and I'm logged in as Robert Vincent. I'm not logged in as my team, and I want to make it very clear that we're not going to be talking about the team aspect of opportunity management in this class, the opportunity pipeline, because there are significant differences and tools available to you in the team as a rainmaker that we don't want to cover in this class here. We're covering this class as an individual agent. Now, having said that, there may be some sections in here where you're actually watching me do some stuff on screen and it refers to teams, and that's not something I can unfortunately, I can't get rid of the team part of it to kind of display for you only an individual, because once you are a member of a team, and I'm also the rainmaker of this team, I can't like separate them out and show you just the individual parts. So I'll try to be very clear about what is team related, what's team centric versus what is agent specific. Okay. All right. So let's take a look here on our dashboard, and I'm gonna always start with the red KW up in the corner so that you can see that we have a menu of what the different applets are inside of Command here. So on the left hand side, I click on the little red KW up on the corner and we can see the names of all the different applets. What we're talking about right here today is the opportunities applet. So I'll go ahead and click on this, and I'm going to start by showing you one of the first things that people do and the relationship between contacts and the opportunities. I am always telling you as a new agent and reminding you repeatedly that a single opportunity is always managed from the actual contact who is the primary contact of that opportunity. So John Smith, if we need to manage an opportunity for John Smith, we open up John Smith as a contact, and then from there we go to the opportunity within John Smith. But one of the things that you'll notice, and I'm not going to bother opening up a contact to show you this, but I can tell you that once you click on an opportunity from within a contact, what's going to happen is it's going to open up this opportunities area. It's going to switch to this applet, and it's going to open up the opportunity specifically that you had requested within this area. So what you're looking at here, and I'm going to, again, I'll focus on the individual agent perspective. In the opportunities area, I've got 43 of my contracts that are under the cultivate. I've got 1 under appointment, 10 under active, 14 under contract. And right now, although I may have closed transactions, they only stay in the closed window for 30 days, and then they're taken out of this list. They're only taken out of the list. They're not removed from the system by any means. But this will show 0 if you haven't closed anything in the last 30 days. So you may have 100 of them, but they won't be displayed here because that would be too, it's the end of the pipeline, right? So if we put everything in here and it just kind of got all piled up, it would be very difficult to navigate. So they remove them from the pipeline after 30 days, and they exist in the contacts, but they're no longer in the pipeline. And there's a reason for that. Think about it. When we talk about, managing your business, you don't want all of your closed stuff in here to just sit and pile up in a big old tire heap. What you want is you'll manage anything that's closed. You'll go to the individual contact and manage it there. So as I mentioned, when you click on an opportunity from a contact, it's going to take you into the opportunities applet, but it's going to immediately open up the given opportunity that you looked for. So it's going to look like this. The opportunity applet will light up, and then the opportunity itself will show you the details page. This is the first page that you'll see when you go there. Now, that's if you are looking at a single opportunity. If you're looking at the opportunities as a business, you're going to see this page, and this is the dashboard. So let's talk about this. On the dashboard, again, keeping in mind that I am part of a team and I am also the rainmaker on the team, you will not see this most likely if you are a solo agent. So you will not see a team name to the left here. Your name is going to be the first thing you see here. So mine is second because I've set myself up for the team being the primary. So in the agent name here, your name, you're going to see 3 different sections here, and you can see them listed as shown. I'll just break them down here for you really quick. The listings, which are green, all of your listings, all of your buyer transactions, which are red, and all of your lease transactions, which are purple. And that includes lease from the leasee and the leaseor perspective. So it takes care of both sides. And this is the life of the transaction. That's what pipelines are, if you're in sales, it's the same kind of thing. It's the lifeline of the transaction from inception to the closing process here for what you could call contract to close. And that's what we're talking about here. Contract to close. So each of these sections has a piece of information on the right-hand side that summarizes what's going on in each of them. So let's just focus on the listings side for a moment, because we're going to find that these 3 sections are basically the same. So the kind of information that's displayed is going to be the same on all 3 of these. So let's see what we got. In the listings area, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 of these different stages here, okay, phases. So there are 5 phases of an opportunity. The cultivate phase, the appointment phase, the active phase, the under contract phase, and then the phase of closed. The closed phase doesn't have a lot going on in terms of activities because it's basically the closing portion of it. However, there are some important elements about a closed opportunity that we want to make sure that we pay attention to. But for right now, I want you to know that there's the least amount of work in terms of moving through the opportunity are in the closed area. But it does not mean that it's less important to follow through with what's in there. So in the cultivate stage or the cultivate phase, well, we have to understand that this is kind of like a holding tank. The cultivate section or the cultivate phase is for the initial kind of like, I'm thinking there might be something to happen here. It does not mean that you already have a contract. As a matter of fact, the contract phase is the active phase. The contract is signed, the agreement is active. So the cultivate phase is where you start to kind of nurture the contact. You start making the phone calls. You start making the follow-ups. You start looking at properties and getting an idea. Not looking at properties, but you start looking at what it's going to take to convert this person to an appointment, the appointment phase, and then what's it going to take from the appointment phase to get to the active phase. So let's look at each of these phases individually. Now, when we talk about them, I want you to remember that we are managing our business as a whole with the pipeline here, but each contract exists at some point on this timeline. But the timeline itself is for all of your opportunities so that you know the state of your business. So if I open up the cultivate phase and I click on it here, when I do that, I am looking at all of the opportunities. And remember, there was like 30, 40 of these things in here. The cultivate phase is now showing up at the top. And underneath that, there are 3 columns. That's for this phase. There are 3 columns. However, different phases may have different numbers of columns, okay? So when we look at this, what we want to remember is that the phase is divided into in this case, 3 stages. The watch stage, the nurture stage, and the hot stage. Think of it this way. You come across a contact and you feel like this contact is worth watching. So you have created an opportunity. Does it mean the opportunity is actively signed or actively going through? No, it means that you feel that this opportunity, this contact in this opportunity is kind of something worth watching. You don't have any paperwork, you don't have any agreements yet, and you're thinking, well, yeah, I'll keep an eye on this, but I want it in my pipeline because it is going to potentially be income. Okay, it might potentially turn into a sale. In this case, because it's a listing, it's a sale, right? Well, I guess it's a sale either way, but it's potentially going to become an active contract. The next stage, stage in here is nurture. So you've gone beyond the conversations of, hey, I'm a real estate agent and, I have a feeling this person might turn into something. So I'm going to create an opportunity here. And now they're in the nurture stage where you're talking to them and you haven't gotten to the point where you're ready to do any contracts or anything like that, but you're feeling, I'm going to keep my eye on this. All right. It may not turn into anything yet, but I'm going to keep my eye on it. And then in the hot stage over here on the right, you've got confidence. You're like, you know what? I think this is going to turn into something. I'm going to probably ask for an appointment. And check it out right up here. There's an appointment section. So once a person or once an opportunity gets into the stage where it's hot, the next action is that you're going to set an appointment. So when we're looking at the stages here, and you saw me grabbing these little cards and moving them around, if you think about it, it's a great way to manage where the conversations are in your pipeline, in your big picture. So if I've got a listing here for Robert Vincent and it's under watch and there's no real activity yet and I don't necessarily feel really confident. As a matter of fact, my confidence level is actually listed up here at the top as 5%. I have 5% confidence that this activity here, this opportunity is going to succeed, become a fully fledged closed opportunity. As the opportunity moves through the pipeline, your confidence level increases. When something is under nurture, then you have a higher level of confidence that something's going to happen, that this is going to seal up. This also translates to your finances. The higher up we get here, then we're now in the hot section where I'm going to ask this first person for an appointment this week. There's a 10% confidence level here. It's twice what it was when we began. But all we're talking about is an opportunity that is in the cultivate, kind of massaging it, nurturing it, and potentially getting real comfortable. So how often are you moving these opportunities from these various stages and phases? How often are you doing that? Well, that's going to be up to you, because you are the owner of this pipeline. You are the one who is in charge of getting this done, right? So when it starts off, when you create an opportunity, all new opportunities are by default created under cultivate and thrown into the watch. You may create an opportunity that's already at the appointment phase, or you might create an opportunity that's already in the active phase because you have a signed piece of paper and you're like, you know what? Okay, so I've got this opportunity and it's bypassed all that other stuff. It happens very quick, especially in this market. It could happen very, very fast where there is no watch, nurture, or hot. It just, that didn't happen. It went straight from, I created this opportunity. The default was to put it in cultivate watch. But right now this thing is active because I've already signed a contract, and that's what this opportunity was created for, was to get that contract signed to begin the process. So let me go back to the opportunities tab here, and let's talk about how that the different phases and stages work from this page. Remember, the cultivate phase had those 3 stages within it. It had watch, nurture, and hot. And then when we look at the appointment stage here, or the appointment phase, what we have is scheduling, scheduled, and kept. So how fast can that happen? So I've got something, I scheduled an appointment with Jackie, and that appointment is on Tuesday. Okay, great. Today's Tuesday. Did Jackie keep the appointment? Yes. I'm sorry. I'm looking to see, even me, these happen so fast, even in conversation. I am going to schedule an appointment with Jackie. I have not reached out to her and asked her, but we've had that initial conversation of, yeah, we should get together. Now, I scheduled the appointment for Tuesday at 4 p.m. I move it into the scheduled, all right? And then the scheduled activity occurs. We met, and she kept the schedule, all right? She kept the scheduled appointment. So now it's over here at 30%. So I went from 10% to 20% to 30% probability that this activity or this transaction is going to turn into a completely closed opportunity. From the point of kept, when you look at the kept here, you think to yourself, well, what's next? Well, the next phase is active. And generally speaking, if they kept the appointment, hopefully when you're sitting down at the kitchen table and that appointment that they have kept, you don't necessarily need to go into here because you're sitting at the table. Hopefully the next thing that happens is that they sign the contract, right? That's the next step. So if we say, okay, well, you know what? Yes, the scheduled appointment was taken care of. Yes, Jackie kept it. And in addition to that, we moved Jackie into the active phase because Jackie has in fact signed the opportunity, and we're now under our agreement. So an active here is now we're in staging. We're to the point where this listing has been signed. The appointments were kept, and that listing is in the staging stage. Then after staging, maybe the dates are complete there, and now we are moving it into showing. We have actively put this thing together. The listing is active. Everything is rolling, and we are showing this property now. Okay. And the open house is on Saturday. And on Saturday afternoon, you start to get people that are really chomping on this thing. So now you're under negotiations because you've got an offer or several, and you are under negotiations to try and figure out which offer you're going to take, or which offer is going to be the one that kind of moves forward. And after negotiations, usually the next step or the next phase is going to be that it's under contract. Now, don't worry about this legacy item over here. This has something more to do with commands interface with the old .loop tools. So we're not really looking at this. Don't even worry about it. This is just for imported transactions. That's all that's for, and that's all I'm going to talk about on that. But so now we've got a negotiations stage in the active phase. Well, the next thing is we've got negotiations. Well, let's get a signed contract. So now the opportunity is now under contract. And in the under contract area here, we have that the opportunity is in escrow, inspections, appraisal, financing, and then clear to close. So the under contract phase or stage phase is got a lot going on. But again, it can happen very, very quickly. But look at this. At the point where we get this opportunity into the escrow phase, we are at 90% that this thing is going to happen. And you and your business know this. If something's in escrow, there's a 90% chance that it's going to close. There's always a window that it possibly wouldn't. But you've got a 90% chance that this thing is going to close. And when we look at that, we may end up moving it through our pipeline very, very quickly, from escrow to inspections to appraisal to financing, and then on over all the way across. So what actions as a business owner are you going to take to manage this pipeline? Okay. And then, by the way, as we get all the way across here, let's take Jackie's student and put it all the way in clear to close. 90% on that, and we're good to go. And then, of course, the last thing is closed. The only thing I have to do is drag it up to closed, and it goes into the closed. So let's back up again. Now that you've seen kind of the flow of the information through, I'm going to go back to the main page here. Why do we need to even bother with tracking where these opportunities are in their life cycle? What's the point? Well, the point quite simply is, as our business builds, we want to know what money is going to be potentially coming into the business. And when we talk about potential, we're talking about where are things in the pipeline, what is the percentage that these things are going to close, and how much actual money does that turn into our GCI. So let's look at something over here. All the way on the right-hand side of the listings pipeline: cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and closed. Right now, with 43 things in my cultivate and 15 opportunities in my under contract, all of the potential percentages that we saw, from 5% to 90% potential, we call it potential energy, potential income, right? All of that potential income is calculated based on the transaction amounts, which are the prices of the properties, based on those commissions. Okay, your total commission from all listing opportunities in each of these areas is right now $339,717.30. It's taking the percentage of each of those transactions in each of those stages and phases, and it's adding them up to tell you that your potential income is $339,717. Your probable income is based on the probability to close. Actually, let me back up and do the potential again. The potential income is all of the money, regardless of the percentages. So we could have everything in cultivate, and it could be $300,000. Okay, I said that wrong initially, but let me back it up and restate it so that it makes more sense. The potential income is just an addition of all the dollar values across the entire pipeline. The probable income is the percentages. If everything's sitting in 5% and you've got, $2 million worth of property here, or $20 million worth of property, I should say, and you're sitting on all of it in the cultivate, the probability of that all coming through is 5%, showing you a 5% for your total amount of potential, probable income. So when you look at this, everything that's in the cultivate area is going to end up generating of low value over here to the tune of 5% of the total transaction. The more things move along through the pipeline, the higher your probable income becomes. So keeping that in mind, this gives you perspective on where you are at with your goals and with, again, the potential income of your business and the probable income of your business. Do you manage your business to this level? I don't know. Do you? That's a question for you to answer. Do you care that you're looking at the potential and the probable income over the lifetime of these opportunities? Or are you deeply involved in each opportunity and you don't have a lot of them? Maybe you have 2 or 3, and you can see them in here. We'll still tell you the same amount of information, but because there's only 2 or 3, are you really trying to keep an eye on all the cultivates and all the appointments when there's only a couple going on? Do you need this pipeline if you are in a low volume situation? Well, I would argue that the pipeline definitely tells you your potential and your probable based on whatever's in there, whether it be 1 transaction or 100 transactions. So it is valuable information, but you as a business owner have to decide if this is information that you're going to utilize and act upon. If you have decided that this is not something that you're interested in right now, maybe it's something you will explore down the line, then the pipelines themselves don't generate enough information for you to really think about the management of the individual transactions within the pipeline. However, no matter what happens, the more you move the transaction through the pipeline, the more that this probable income is going to go up, and it will give you an idea of what your business is doing. So it's kind of a circle. It just keeps coming back around. So let's talk about whether you should or shouldn't, and what are the kind of like the guidelines that you would put in place. Very simply, if you are interested in following along with your business potential and your business probable income, then you should be managing each opportunity and where it is in the pipeline. If you are not interested in those two values and you're only focused on a couple of transactions here or there, and the transaction itself is relevant and most important to you, but the business aspect of this is kind of like, oh, maybe when I get larger or as things start to grow, then I'll start to use this. Okay, I'm with you on either side of that. But let's talk about the actual management process. You saw that when I was in the pipeline, I clicked on the cultivate phase, and there are 3 stages within. Now, the 3 stages, we can move our opportunities between them just by dragging them. By just moving this opportunity from the left to the right 1 column, I've increased the probable income from 5 to 7. And by doing it here, I've gone from 7 to 10. Great. But if the information that's inside of this does not generate data, then that number didn't contribute to anything. And so what I mean by that is, look at this. I'm going to open up this opportunity by clicking on the name of the opportunity. This is just one called Robert Vincent listing. There's no listing details. There isn't information down here about the estimated listing price. So I've got a commission rate of 23%. Clearly, this is something that was generated more as a demonstration, little test, and a little example file. But if you take away the 23% here and you say, you didn't bother to put in a estimated listing price when you built the opportunity, then whatever happens with this opportunity moving through the pipeline, the amount of dollar calculations and contributions to the potential and the probable is going to be a giant fat 0 because it doesn't have any data to calculate against. So it doesn't matter whether this thing sits over here or whether it sits over here, or for that matter, whether it sits under contract. Zeros are zeros are zeros. So 10% of 0, 0. Doesn't matter. So when we look at these, we have to say to ourselves, am I going to fully utilize the pipeline? If you're going to fully utilize the pipeline, then you need to fully utilize the opportunity and the information within it. So let's take a look again at this Robert Vincent listing. Nothing up at the top here, but not even a listing selected. I'm going to edit this information. So I'm going to edit the information from where we have here no pricing or anything like that. I'm going to change this and say that this is a $600,000 house. And the the commission rate, I'm going to put back down to a more reasonable 3%. And I'm going to say that, the rest of this stuff here, we're in the cultivate, and we'll put it back in the watch stage. So cultivate phase, watch. So I'll show you something here. So I'll save that, and I'm going to go back to my opportunities tab. So in my cultivate phase, and if I go in here, I have my watch stage. I now have $18,000 of potential income here. All right, let's go back to the main page here and let's look at some numbers. Potential income is $357,717. That's potential income because I know that I have that house in there. Probable income, $135,258. Let's just round it off to 135 right now. So 135. That's because I'm getting 5% of that potential here. I'm going to take that and I'm going to jump ahead quite a bit. I'm going to go from the watch phase and from the watch stage, and I'm going to jump over into active, and I'm going to drop it into the active. So I'm going to go from active, and there it is over on the left side down here. There's that $18,000 of potential, right? So if I go back to the opportunities page here, look at that. I went from 132 to 143 of probable because the probability percentages have increased. Okay, because those percentages have increased and I'm now in the active. So let's say that's 1/3, and we'll round it down to 143. I'll take it from the active here. And if you recall, it was in active under staging. That's 50%. Let's say if I go to active under negotiations and put it over here, active negotiations, that's 80% of that $18,000 is now my probable. So now I'm at 148. Same thing, take it from the active here, and we'll go ahead and take it from literally right here, active, and we're going to say that we're going to put it under contract. So now it's under contract, and I come in here, it's going to fall into the escrow section right here, and there it is. That's 90%. So we are at 90% of probable. If I come back to my opportunities pipe, 150. So it's 150 and 5. So do you see how moving the opportunity through the pipeline and actively engaging with that process is telling us that there is an increase in probable income? That probable income will round out at 90%. And the only thing that's going to change it now is to put it into closed when we get 100% of that. That probable income has become income. Okay. So right now my business sits with $150,000 of potential, $357,000 of potential income, but probable based on percentages at 150 right now. I need things to move to the right. I need things to move to the right smoothly, accurately, quickly, according to time and whatever's going on in the market. But I want to maintain the integrity of this pipeline as much as possible. Every new opportunity comes in cultivate and watch. If you do not modify that until you actually put a closing date in here, I'm going to tell you something. This is going to be harsh truth, okay? Absolute harsh truth. If you put 43 of these things into, I've got 37 of them right now. 37 of these transactions are in cultivate and watch. And if I don't manage these opportunities from where they are in the pipeline, then the day that I go and take that one from that cultivate and watch and I mark it as closed and I submit for commission, the value of the pipeline becomes zero because it went from literally walking in the door to walking out the door, and I did not monitor it in between. It doesn't do me anything to manage my business, to understand what's going on. It just came in and it went out and it's a number. If that's how you're transacting, that's fine. Honestly, it's fine. You don't have to use this. This is only if you want to use this. So, listings, buyers, exactly the same thing. Potential income of all the total amounts, probable income of the amounts based on percentages. Leases, same thing. GCI down here, potential income. I got no leases and I've got nothing going on there. So my potential and my probable are zero right now. Look at this. I've got, and actually I have things in here in the cultivate area. I've got 4 of them, and you probably have figured this out already. Let's see what, oh, because it's going to be under landlord. So here they are, zeros in terms of the dollars. So that's another bit of proof that unless you're truly managing it, the data is meaningless. Garbage in, garbage out. Let's go back and look at that. So in my leases area, I've got 4 in cultivate and 1 in active. And because these numbers are zero, I guarantee you, if I open up any of those opportunities, the amount of money that is listed in the value of the properties be involved is zero. So if I go to Ramirez here and I come down to the bottom, there's a lease price, but a 0 on the commission. Those two numbers, 0 times whatever is 0. So if I put a number in the commission here, let's say the commission is going to be 3%. Oh, that's it. Is that a dollar value? It is. Commission, let's say it's going to be $1,000. Okay, it's not a percentage, it's a dollar. Okay, so I put that in there. Go back to my opportunities. Here we are. Now I have 1,000, but probability is $50 because of where it is in the pipeline. If you're not using the information in the opportunity detail screen, then this is giving you bad data. If you are using the information, but you're not moving the opportunities through the pipeline, then this is giving you bad data. So manage it with that in mind. Think about how you're going to do it. All right. Now, let's see the difference here between managing your business and managing an opportunity. One of the things that you can do on this screen, and I've set this up for several agents, is you can use this as a dashboard without having to use this digging in. So like say I'm going to my opportunities area, I'm looking for a particular opportunity. I can go to cultivate over here and I've got all this stuff. I have to slide through all these different things. I'm looking for stuff. I could do sort by, I could even do search and search for Robert. But the reality is doing all of this work here, actually, I shouldn't search for Robert. I'll search for someone else because my name is on all of those. Let's go with Potter. There we go. Burke Potter. So I can search for stuff. Yes, this is great. But I've got a cluttered interface here, and it can get very, very kind of like crazy. So if I'm going to be managing an individual opportunity, I can still use the dashboard to do it, but I'm not going to use this page. I'm going to use the all opportunities listing page for all of my opportunities. So here are all of the opportunities that I have, regardless of whether they're listing, buyer, whether they are landlord or lease. All of them are here. All of the opportunities are on this page. There's 111 of them. So right now I'm showing 25. So if I show 75, I can scroll through all 75 of my opportunities. They're not being managed as the pipeline, but I can use this page to search for them. So let's say, for example, in the address, I'm looking for 5 Autumn Lane. I'll just type in 5 Autumn and I'll search for that. And here are all of the opportunities. And I've used this address 100 times. So there's all the properties for 5 Autumn Lane. There are 10 of them. I can also, over on the left-hand side here, instead of searching for the address, I can use the drop down here and say, show me by opportunity name or show me by contact. So I can search for it by contact and say, let's say I'm looking for all the opportunities with the name of Tony. So here are all of Tony's opportunities. And I can do this. I can search for them. If I've got multiple opportunities for the same contact, I can do that. I can use this to kind of gauge them and find what I'm looking for. But the thing that we have to remember here is each of these opportunities that are listed, we have address, assignee, type, phase, volume, compensation, and a closed date here. Now, that's the only date option that we have for sorting this list, is sorted up and down by date closed. But in this list of all of these things for Tony, which one is the most recent one? It's not closed, right? I don't know. But if I go to the contact themselves and I go to Tony Vincent, and I'll go over here and go to contacts, and I'll go to Tony Vincent. Okay. And Tony is apparently itch. There we go. Okay, so Tony, the opportunities, there they are. Okay, so now in looking at this, I can actually see by date, June 1st. That's the most recent one. And then it goes back in time. It goes all the way back to February 1st for this particular opportunity, or for this contact. So now I can see the same thing. I can see the information about these opportunities by date, but I ended up having to go back to the contact to do it. So when you are managing an opportunity, it is often better to manage the opportunity directly from the contact. And I've said that before, and I'll die on this hill. You're not going to use this page or even the all opportunities page. You're not going to use either one of these as the opportunity singular management tool, because all you need to do to manage a single opportunity is go to the contact. Now, I've talked to a lot of agents. I've talked to a lot of you. And it does appear to me that many of the transactions that you handle, you think of in terms of address. You don't necessarily think of it in terms of the person, the contact. And the address is the most important thing for you. Fair enough. I'll give you that the address may be a very important part, and it might be the primary value with which you categorize and manage your opportunities. If that is the case, and if you're sitting here watching this right now and you're thinking to yourself, Robert, I go by the address. That's the primary thing for me. I'm sorry. The people come and go, but the address is something that I remember. I've been to that house 20 times or 10 times. I know the address. I know the area. Fair enough. Then use this tool to make that work for you. Okay? So here's what I mean. Looking at this screen, now, I just clicked on this by default, so just so you know how I got here. From the Opportunities applet, I went over to the All Opportunities area. Okay, so in the All Opportunities area here, I'll remove all the filters and I'll just show a bunch of things here. We do see that the opportunity name on the left, that's a default column. You can't change that anyway. So the name of the opportunity And if you recall, we've asked you on listing opportunities to make sure that you put the address in the name of the opportunity. So here we are, a couple of them did not have it. So this here, Jackie Astuto listing does not have an address. But it has an address over here in the address column. There are some here like this, Elijah Vandenberg, 123 Main Street. That's the name of the opportunity. And to prove it, I'll go to the opportunity, and here you can see Elijah Vandenberg Main Street. This is the opportunity name. Excellent. Let's go back a page. However, Elijah Vandenberg, the opportunity itself, does not have an address. This is a listing, and we know that by the listing type, but there is no address here. Why is there no address in this address field? Especially for those of you who are using the address as the primary tool or the primary key for how you think of a transaction. Well, if you think about it, yes, there's an address in the name, but there's no actual address. If I come up here and I see that 123 Main Street, I'll put in the 123 Main Street, 123 Main Street. Okay, and I'll go ahead and search for that. And it is saying address right there, address, 123 Main Street. I click on that. So now I'm going to see all of the 123 Main Streets. And I look in this list, and it says that there are a total of 9 transactions that have an address of 123 Main Street. None of those transactions have the opportunity name of Elijah. It's because, as you recall, there was no address for Elijah Vandenberg in the address field. Let's change that. I'm going to go ahead and open up the opportunity, and I can do one of two things. I can select from the listings 123 Main Street in Epping, and I can search for that so that I can find it, and I can add it this way. But remember, this is the MLS listing. I'm pulling in specifically this MLS number. Now, if this property is not on the MLS yet, or the MLS for some reason is not going to happen for whatever reason, you may not find it in this search by clicking that Select from Listings button. But down here, you can always, and this is a guarantee here, you can always add the property without the MLS by clicking the pencil icon next to property and searching for 123 Main Street. And that will be in Epping. This property is a property without an MLS ID number. This is just a geographic location. And I'll put that in here for now. So now look what happens. The listing value shows up and it says 123 Main Street, but it does not show you the MLS information, because what we did was we pulled a physical address and put it down here that transferred up here and said, this is the address of the property, but this is not the MLS. So let me remove that property for a second. I want to show you something. It removes all of it, right? So you saw a moment ago, I searched for a piece of property just by using the property tool, non-MLS. Click on the select from the listings up top here. My information is still at the top. There's the MLS. There's the number for the MLS. And that's the one I want this time for my example. Now I bring it in, and it brings in the information, right? It also brings in all of the MLS detail. This down here, just property. This up here, MLS. Chew on that one for a little bit. Now that we know that we have a physical address in the property field, and in this case we have it via an actual listing, if I go back to my pipeline here, and I now look at my little list, I'll remove the filter again, and look at this, Elijah Vandenberg with a physical address. And now when I try to type in here, 123 Main Street, I'm going to find all of the 123 Main Streets, including Elijah Vandenberg. So if you tell me, and I'm bringing this all the way back around now, if you tell me, Robert, I do pretty much everything by the address, the name of the contact, although I am familiar with them, that's not the primary methods that I use. Fine. But don't forget to put the physical address in every transaction, MLS or street address, doesn't matter. That will show up in here so that you can actually manage your opportunities by street address, and not have to worry about finding out who it was. Now, some things that are a little bit more unique here are easier, like 416 Huntington Drive. This is for Holly Cronin. Let's go ahead and see if anybody else has, if I've done multiple, because I do multiples in here as tests. Okay. So here, yeah, I've done 416 Huntington Drive a few times. So if this house, if you've sold it a few times, you'll be able to see who you'd sold it to. Okay. So some very powerful tools to help you manage the opportunities are on the All Opportunities tab here within Opportunities. Very powerful, cool little thing. Now let's take that one step further. In the opportunities that are listed here, they're sorted and filtered, they are what they are. Now we can, of course, use the drop down here and do searches for different things. Maybe I want to search if I want a team, who's the assignee, or if I'm looking for a contact on this screen, I can do that. I can search for Tony. That's one way to do it using the search. Remember, the search always defaults to address. So if you type in an address and you're thinking that it's going to look in the opportunity name field, it is not. It is looking here. So Jacob Wong here doesn't have an address in either place. So if I know that this is 123 Main Street here, if I search for 123 Main Street, this guy's not coming up anywhere. So you've got to make sure that the information is in the details so that you can find it. Next up is, of course, the search. Next to that is the filter. On the filters, we can search for if you're a member of multiple market centers. I'm talking to you, Loban. If you search for multiple market centers, you can narrow it down here. What kind of an opportunity is it? Listing, buyer, tenant, landlord. So you have all these different search tools that you can use for filtering to get it down to what you're looking for. Great. My favorite thing about this is that filters can be saved as views. So maybe you want to create a view that is showing all of your under contract. So you can create a filter showing only the under contract and say, yes, I want to see just the opportunities that are under contract. Yes, we can turn that filter on and off as needed and get rid of it. But right now we've got 18 of our opportunities that are under contract. I can come up here to where the name of the current view is, and I can create a smart view that says under contract. Okay. And I can say, yes, that's the view that I want to use. So I can go from all opportunities here and say, there's all the opportunities. There's 111 of them. Come up here and say, you know what? Just show me all of the under contract. Beautiful. There's all the under contract. By the way, I have one that I've made before called Show Me All of the Opportunities with the tag Dual Agency. And you can see off to the right-hand side of the screen here, I'm using tags. So by using tags, I can say, create a tag and then assign the tag to the opportunity. And then I can view all of those tags here by creating a special view for it or just filtering for it. That kind of horsepower on this page, the All Opportunities page, is really, really powerful. It's not anything to do with the pipeline. It's about the opportunities in your business. So some of you may find a lot of value in this, the All Opportunities page. Now, I'm going to show you one more thing here in terms of this particular tool that I think that you'll really appreciate to help you manage your business in a quick, efficient way. I like shortcuts. I like things that make my life easy. And one of those shortcuts is my bookmarks for my web browser up here. And I have one called Nav. And Nav has directory information of all the things that I use on a daily basis. Well, I'm going to create a new folder over here. I'm going to show you something really cool. New folder. And this is going to be my KW. So I put a little KW folder here. Right now there's nothing in it. And I'm going to create a view that is in my current view here. I'm going to say I'm going to do a filter for all of my under contract opportunities. Just that simple thing, little filter for that. So my little all opportunities, I've saved it here, right? All opportunities. If I want this to be my dashboard for my opportunities section, all I have to do now is take the lock icon in Chrome, which you should be using Chrome because it's the recommended browser for Command. I take that lock icon and I can drag the URL into that newly created folder. And now I have a shortcut to this page. And I can even rename this page and call it My Dashboard. So now that means that no matter where I am, let's see if I go over here and I go to a different page and I'm looking around, I've got one window up. I'm like, oh, you know what? I need to go back to look on an opportunity. The fastest way, go to your little folder, My Dashboard. It'll log you in. It'll take you directly to your dashboard with your preferred filter, and you will be able to see, yep, those are the ones that are under contract. I need to call Sally Seller. Done. The ability to bend this tool to work like you want to work is very, very powerful. If you don't need that one anymore, you can just say you want to go and show me my all opportunities window. Great. Back here. Or you can navigate back to your contacts, whatever. The pipeline itself, although I'm not 100% sold on everybody needing to use it, only those of you who are looking to manage the business and are interested in these two numbers, potential and probable income, through the life cycle of your transactions. And remember, this does take work because you have to move each of these transactions through the pipeline to have relevant information. Not only that, but you also have to have details in each of these opportunities that can contribute to the relevant data on the right. Without full information on each of these opportunities, this is not telling you the true value of what's going on. So there's some things you have to do to make this valuable. If you're using it just as a pretty little board to say, oh, I've got things under contract here, or cultivate, and that's right, these Jacqueline Harris is under active right now. Yeah, I'll put it over there. And that's all you're doing is just kind of monitoring this. You're not really looking at the numbers. Fine, that's fun, that's good, but it's not really giving you value. Okay, I think that the value in here is understanding that full data, full management gives you the GCI on the right and makes it worthwhile. Otherwise, navigate over to all opportunities, create yourself a view that the view gives you a nice look at what's going on. I'll go ahead and choose all here. I'm even going to manage my smart views. I'm going to return my default view to that one because that one works better. Okay, so now as a dashboard, it works good, but still holds. This still holds. If you have something here where you've incorrectly filled it out, I got zeros across the board, 0 volume, 0 commission. You're just using it as a shopping list. You're just going through it and clicking on stuff. But if you're really truly trying to monitor your business, keep the information in each of the opportunities that you're working on fully up to date, and you'll get some really good uses out of this. Okay. This is a class about that pipeline. That's about the whole thing, running the pipeline and understanding the pipeline. So I hope that this has helped you understand what this is for and what it can do for you so that you can make a good decision on whether it's something you want to fully utilize. Now, here's the best part of this, and I'm going to wrap it up with this. If you are thinking about using the pipeline, if you're not using it yet, and you're like, yeah, that might be something I want to do, just remember this. From the moment you make the decision to do it, make sure that every single transaction you create, every opportunity you create, has as much information in the details area as you possibly can. Any lack of information on this page is going to reveal itself on the pipeline as missing data. It's going to skew the information that you're using to run your business. If you take anything away from this conversation, take that away, that you are responsible for keeping the data up to date and accurate for every single opportunity in order for the opportunity pipeline to have any value. And I'll just leave it there with that. Okay, so this afternoon we're going to be doing our second class of the day, and that is going to be creating your first Facebook business page. So that's going to be at 2 o'clock today, the September 21st. And make sure you go listen to Earth, Wind, and Fire. There, I gave away the name for you. And today is, like I said, September 21st. 21st night of September. Anyways, all right, that's enough of my singing. I'll see you guys a little bit later at 2 o'clock. If you have any questions, remember, you can always contact me at robert.vincent@kwclm.com. You can go to book time with me on my calendar at timewithrobert.com. If we meet in a Zoom room, it's always the same Zoom room, and it is kwtechtv.com, which is also where you can find me Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. And you can also watch these trainings live on YouTube at kwtechtube.com. And you can also watch these recorded versions on kwtechtube.com. So if you missed this today, you can always go over to kwtechtube.com and watch it later. And of course, we always stream live on Facebook in our Facebook group, KWCLM. All right, you guys, that's going to cover it for today for this morning's class. We'll see you this afternoon, and hope you have an awesome day.